Hi, this is Fazlullah Sadiq. I make videos on English grammar and share other relative informative videos. But before further proceed, press the bell icon to subscribe my channel.
So some of the barriers which I have listed here are 10 in number. The first one is non-verbal signals. Now, non-verbal signals, which is, you can say, part of non-verbal communication, it is often referred to as body language, and it varies from one culture to another because of these cultural differences that we have. So you should always be very much careful about non-verbal signals that you pass, and understanding the cultural differences is also equally important, because if you do not understand the cultural differences, the basic things that are there in another culture, so you will not be able to understand that the body language, the non-verbal signals the other person uses. So it often becomes a barrier for us in the process of communication, especially in you can say one-to-one conversation, especially in meetings and in oral discussions. So always be careful about the cultural differences. You should try to learn the basics of other cultures as well, to understand the non-verbal signals, so that miscommunication may not occur because of it. And as far as this body language or non-verbal signals are concerned, they provide valuable feedback where verbal communication is concerned, where oral communication is concerned. Most of the time, this by the use of body language, by the use of gestures, by the use of facial expressions, we receive feedback. So that feedback can only be understood if you know the cultural differences that are there between you and your recipient. So as far as non-verbal signals are concerned, they become barriers. They become barriers most of the times in cross-cultural communication, in such communication where people are from different cultures, from different ethnicities, from different cultural backgrounds. So understanding the cultural differences is highly important, because this is how you can avoid, you can minimize the barrier in the form of non-verbal signals. And understanding these non-verbal signals, gestures, posture, facial expressions is equally important, just like verbal communication is. And the second barrier, communication barrier, is language. Most of the time we use language to communicate messages, to transfer or to exchange messages, and for this purpose we use words. We choose different words in order to make the message and the communication process more effective. So the choice of words is very much important for effectiveness of any communication. And you should be aware of the fact that language is arbitrary. It is used by an individual the way he chooses words for expression of an idea. So and that the meaning also changes with the passage of time. The meaning of words also changes with the passage of time. So there are so many words that were once used in 14th or in 13th or 14th or 15th century, but they have become obsolete. They have become out of fashion now. They are no more used nowadays in English, in any language. So language changes its meaning with the passage of time. Language changes its meaning from one locality to another. So there are also such words that have got different meanings. Like we have, you can say, we have got literal meaning, we have got connotative meanings, we have got denotative meanings. So these are different meanings, different kinds of meanings that are used in different occasions to express an idea. So as far as language is concerned, it is very much tricky because many words are there that have got different meanings. So it is because of our knowledge background and experience that we associate a word with a specific meaning. And because of our knowledge background and experience, our understanding of that meaning is also affected due to that. So you should also keep in mind this fact that there are many languages, foreign languages, there are dialects, there are regional accents, and the use of technical or specialist language is also there. So all these things depend on the way we all these factors related to language depend on the way we use language in a specific situation. So we should be very careful about the use of language and make the message more simple for your recipient, because your job as an effective communicator is to minimize the chances of any distortion that is going to happen to the message. So the third barrier is related to listening. As far as this barrier is concerned, there are people who mostly listen to that topic from someone which is interesting for them. If a person has got no interest in the contents of the message which someone is sharing with him through speech, through oral communication, so we don't give attention to the message properly. So listening is very much important. It also occurs most of the time that although we are sitting in a meeting, we are listening to someone who is discussing an important issue and delivering a message, an important message, but we often drift our attentions around. We look here and there, then we tune in, we tune back in to the message and try to get part of it by hearing the message. So usually that message is, you can say, is incomplete because we tune in and we tune out of that you can say that process of listening that we should otherwise have been doing attentively. And listening, as far as listening is concerned, so it requires attention, it requires concentration. You have to make an eye contact with the individual, with the person who is delivering a message orally. So you should be very much attentively listening, and you should constantly make an eye contact with the person who is delivering a message, so as to get the maximum message, so as to completely receive the message that is being delivered to you. And anyone who has something valid to say deserves attention. Always remember, this is a fact, that anyone who has something that is valid, that is genuine, and that is very much true deserves attention. So listen to other people, be a good listener, and by becoming a good listener, you are actually minimizing the chances of this barrier, which otherwise could, put you in trouble. And it is a skill too. Listening is a skill too. There are 4 different skills that we mostly acquire in schools, in colleges. They are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So listening is one of the skills that is very much necessary in order to become an effective communicator. And it requires careful concentration if a communication is to be understood. If you want to understand the message, if you want the process of communication to be complete, if you want to make it effective, so you will have to be very much careful. You have to give a careful concentration to the message which is being shared, and always show interest in the speaker, contents, and the overall message for optimum understanding. If you want to understand the message completely, so it is necessary that you should develop interest, your own interest in the speaker, in the person who is speaking to you, and in the contents that he or she is sharing, along with the overall message for maximum or optimum understanding. Otherwise, if you lack interest in the speaker, if you lack interest in the contents of the speaker, if you lack, you can say, interest in the overall message of the speaker, it will result in, you can say, miscommunication or misunderstanding. Now comes the 4th barrier, which is prejudgment. And as this word, you can say, as you can see, this word pre means before, and judgment. And it means to make a judgment before, listening, or before reading, before judging, before thoroughly judging someone. We often make prejudgments. So most of the time it occurs that what is understood is often conditioned by what we already know and by our background knowledge and experience. It often happens that our understanding is affected by, it is conditioned by what we already know. So and by our background knowledge and experience too. Most of the time we try to understand things on the basis of what knowledge we have about that topic, and our background knowledge and our experience too. So in this regard, you should always be open-minded for, you can say, giving time and space to everyone, listening to other people, and trying to, you can say, pay attention to those who are talking to you, those who are delivering a message to you. Do not be judgmental in advance, because you may miss so many important things which are new to you, which you may never have heard before. So do not jump into, you can say, conclusion. Do not be prejudgmental. Always try to be open-minded to new people, to new personalities, to new situations. And this is how you can avoid this barrier of prejudgment. And often we hear what we want to hear, or what we think we have heard, instead of what has actually been said. So it is very much clear that we often want to hear what we often hear what we want to hear. Our hearing is mostly, you can say, also conditioned, and we hear what we want to hear. If there is something that I don't want to hear, so I don't pay attention to that. So what we think we have heard instead of what has actually been said. And once again, we pay attention to those things that are important for us, that concerns us, that have got any value for us. And if there is no such thing that is important, that has got any value for us, so we don't hear that. So always be careful in this regard. You should always open your ears to all, so that you may listen to each and everything that comes in the form of spoken words from other people. So in this regard, you should always try to read and listen attentively before making any judgment. If there is a written message, you should read it from beginning to the end attentively, carefully, focusing on the meaning of each and every word, so that the message is completely understood by you. And you should, if suppose you are in such a situation where you are listening, so in that case too, you should pay attention, and you should actively listen before making any judgment. Listen thoroughly and till the end, until the other person finishes talking. So this is how you can avoid this barrier of prejudgment. And the next one is relationships. It often happens that because of strained relations in a business setup, in official setup, the communication process breaks. And so always try to be friendly with other people, always keep good and sound relationships with other people in order to be a successful communicator. So the effectiveness of any message, any communication may depend on our relationship with the person giving the message. This is very much true, that the communication will be more effective if we have sound business relationships with the other individual. If you remember, I discussed in the first lecture, when I was discussing benefits of communication. So sound business relationships can be established because of good communication, because of good and effective communication. So the success of your communication highly depends on your relationship with the other person who gives you or who delivers you the message. So, and if there is a strained relationship between you and your boss, or between you and other co-workers, so that will result in failed communication. It will break the process of communication totally. So always try to be friendly with all in a business setup to allow smooth and effective flow of information. If you want your organization to flourish, if you want it to be a progressive organization, so you should always have friendly relationship with other fellows, so that the information may smoothly and effectively flow within an organization.